Hey everypony, this is Digibrony once again, and I've got with me...
I'm not so grump.
And we are doing part 1D of the insanely long Q&A session. We are still in the section where we're talking about My Little Pony and about my channel. We're going to try and record a bunch of these so that we can knock this whole thing out so I can do other videos, because right now this is taking up all my time and I can't do other videos. But rest assured that I will do other videos while we are still making this Q&A, because this Q&A is going to be extremely long. Some people have been like, oh, so is part C the last one or part B? And it's like, no, there's a lot. So anyway, let's continue from where we left off. I was about to read this question that was kind of long from Jonathan. Jonathan asks, do you think if the main characters were transferred to our world and saw our movies and video games, that they'd think fans of violent entertainment were desensitized to real violence due to the wholesome nature of Equestria? How would each of them react to gory media, and would your answer to this question just be a reflection of your own opinion on the matter and liking to think the characters would agree with you? I happen to think that if the main six were teleported to our world, they would have a lot more pressing matters to deal with than violent media, such as the absolute culture shock of everything, being a talking marshmallow pony in a world full of not that. I think they'd just be overwhelmed by absolutely everything. So yeah, you have to remember that if we're talking about teleporting talking magical ponies into reality, there's the implications of that are pretty far-reaching. Anyway, your turn.
What sort of fiction do you think Applejack would enjoy?
I think AJ would have a surprisingly classy taste in literature. I can see her appreciating the kind of like action stuff that Rainbow Dash reads, but I think she'd prefer something a little bit more deep and classy, where she would stuff that would be thoughtful and like expand her knowledge of her knowledge and empathy for other ponies.
Anonymous. You wake up aboard a spaceship set to arrive at Equestria. What do you do?
I immediately seek out someone who can explain to me where I am in great detail, and then I marvel at the shock of learning that there is life and alien races beyond my comprehension who have some purpose to send me to a planet of talking ponies. My horizons are so thoroughly broadened by the time I land in Equestria, I'm just enthralled, and I'm not even really shocked anymore.
Patrick Salisbury. Will you ever do more Eminem/MLP crossover songs?
I've thought about doing so, but I haven't found the right song and character combination. Like with Without Luna, it just worked so perfectly. I'd have to really work towards doing another one. I actually, in the comments of Without Luna, just out of nowhere, did an entire verse of The Real Slim Shady as the real Digibrony, and I might continue that one because it was fun.
Favorite villain from the whole series?
If Trixie counts, Trixie!
How can you go about getting a picture of your OC such as you are sporting on your channel?
Read it like in a way that I can understand.
How can you go about getting a picture of your OC such as you are sporting
on your channel? Sporting on your channel.
Sporting.
At the time that this question was asked, my channel picture would have just been a picture of Digibrony in full, because the one I use in the videos that Mizu Takashima drew has no legs. So the full picture is drawn by Ask Artilla, and you can just go to their DeviantArt. I put a link in the description.
Uwolbu. Why does Twilight have to earn her wings when Cadence is shown to be an alicorn as a kid already?
I don't remember seeing Cadence as a kid, but as to the answer of the question, I do not know.
In your main 6 videos, you said that...
Main 6 ages videos.
You did that last time, too. Read the question.
In your main 6 ages videos, you said that we never got to see a teenager pony, but is the Cadence in Twilight's flashbacks not the very stereotype of a teenager as a baby/full sitter? Yeah, she probably is a teenager there, but my argument was not that we haven't seen teenage ponies, because I actually said that the main 6 were teenage ponies in that video. I was just saying that we hadn't seen a body type of teenage ponies that would exist between a filly and an adult. So, like, we've seen the CMC and we've seen the main 6, and I was saying that basically there is no step between. We've never seen a body type that's not like that.
Can we expect Twilight to grow as tall as the other princesses now that she got promoted?
Cadence and Luna are both shorter than Celestia, so I think that height and alicornness are not necessarily correlated.
Is she gonna live longer than her friends now?
Why
the bleep did I decide to research alicorns a day after episode 13 got released and spoil the episode?
I can't believe you managed to not be spoiled for episode 13 until the day after the episode came out, because most people were spoiled for that like a month ahead of time.
Was there a plan or story for Peewee that got cancelled? Because those few photos in Just for Sidekicks sure were disappointing.
From what I've heard, and for those who don't know who Peewee is, that would be the phoenix that Spike adopted in Dragon Quest, and they show some pictures of it being let back into the wild at the start of Just for Sidekicks. Apparently, this was not even in the script. The animators added it in because of the fact that Peewee wasn't in the script, and they wanted to have a reason that Peewee wasn't there anymore. So they drew that in, and that's why he's gone.
Jordan, is there any chance you'll be or are currently partnered with YouTube?
Yes, I am currently a YouTube partner, which doesn't really mean much because anyone can be a YouTube partner, like, immediately. Like, as soon as you make a YouTube account, you can just partner with them. And then, basically, they keep fucking me over because when you upload a video, you have to wait for it to be approved for monetization. And if it just says, oh, it's being, so a lot of the times it'll say, oh, we're like, what is it, investigating, something like that. It'll be like, we have to approve it first. And so I'll wait like a whole day, and then it'll be like, oh, it's not approved unless you can prove that you own everything in the video. And I've tried to say, oh, well, I do own everything in the video, or everything in it is fair use. But unless I actually have a written thing that says I can use it, then YouTube will not let me monetize the video. But it's completely random whether they'll let me do that or not. I've done all kinds of tests. That's why in a lot of the videos I had like mirrored images and like weird visual effects on there and all kinds of stuff like that. Or videos where I didn't use any footage, I just used still images. And no matter what changes I make, I cannot figure out which ones are going to get. I never know. It'll just be completely random. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, it got monetized. I don't know why. But yeah, so YouTube kind of fucks me over, but I am a YouTube partner.
If you can make your own MLP video game, what do you think it should be called? And what game company do you think would be a great match to develop the game?
It would be called Fighting is Magic, and it'd be made by Main 6. Oh, I made myself depressed. But don't, because Main 6 is actually, they're actually working on the game again, just with new character designs by Lauren Faust. So now it's not going to be a My Little Pony game, but it would have been nice. It's still probably going to be a great game, but it would have been nice as an MLP game.
If the MLP writers were to make a movie, do you think it would land in theaters or just be an average TV movie on the Hub?
Well, actually, the Hub has already said that they are making a My Little Pony made-for-TV movie right now. That's probably going to come out this summer, so yeah.
Tyler, will you do a series of reading videos on Fallout Equestria?
No way in hell, because even if I did read all of Fallout Equestria, and even if I thought it was the best fanfic I've ever read, it's just too goddamn long, and I'm not making that kind of commitment.
Ruolbu.
Want me to read this one?
Sure.
Ruolbu asks, isn't the spell that Cadence casts around 10 minutes into the Candlelight Wedding Part 1 to stop the argument of the two ponies kind of creepy? I mean, arguing is not inherently bad. She just brainwashed them into believing everything is okay. How is that good behavior worthy of a princess? I agree that it's a weird scene, but MLP is kind of full of those weird scenes. Like, the reforming spell that Twilight was saying she was going to use on Discord. There's weird stuff in this show.
CJ, first, I love the videos. Second, my question is if you were transported to Equestria for life and could bring one person and one thing with you but never return and forget everything about being a human, would you do so, and why?
I probably would do so. Victor, when we tried to record this before but failed, Victor was like, I want to go, and I was like, I guess he doesn't care about leaving his entire family and life behind to just jump into Equestria. But we'd probably bring a video camera, and I mean, of course we'd do it, because why the hell not? Equestria seems like a fucking great place to live. It'd be one thing if it was just like, it's not just like a matter of, oh, I get to do all these fantastical things I always wanted to do. It's like, well, like, just from a lifestyle standpoint, it's like, that would be pretty cool to live there. everyone seems happy. Better than, like, worrying about real world shit like the economy. Next question.
Dark Agumon rants. Do you think the Doctor Who's Lyra, Derpy, and other popular background characters get their own episode in Season 4? My other question is, do you think that Twilight will still live in Ponyville?
I really highly doubt that the background characters are going to get their own episode, especially because, you know, obviously the writers are going to be focused on writing the main 6 because they're the main characters. But beyond that, the way that the background characters are created in the show, the writers really have nothing to do with that, and I don't even think they're aware of a lot of them. Like, obviously they're aware of Derpy Whooves because she became such a big deal, but I've seen the writers be totally clueless about a lot of the background ponies because at their stage in the production, when there's background characters who are speaking and stuff, like, they don't write Lyra says this. They just write random pony 1 or background pony 1. And the animators then just choose one of the ponies that they've created and they put it into the scene. So, like, in that scene in A Candlelight Wedding, it could have been any random pony, but they just decided to use the Lyra design. So the writers don't know about these background ponies, and they will not have ideas about them. And they're not allowed to read fan fiction and stuff, so they really are just not, they don't know about these things.
Yeah, you can read the next one.
Where is it? It just says, how deep into analysis can you go?
Oh, I meant the next.
My answer is pretty damn deep. The next question is, something has been bothering me about Lesson 0. I believe that in a movie/book/show, they don't focus on anything unless it has some significance. So why did the camera focus on Big Mac putting down the bucket? Does it have any relevance? If not, why would they focus on it the way they did? Why was he carrying it? What happened to it? Am I crazy? Probably. I haven't seen the episode in a long time, so I don't know the scene you're talking about, but it's not that every shot has to be important to the plot of the episode. Every shot has a purpose, but that purpose can be something like providing a good scene transition or really having good shot composition or something. So there's a lot of other purposes besides enhancing the actual plot of what's happening, beyond creating, like, because a shot can be irrelevant in terms of what's happening, but the way that the shot's laid out creates a certain feeling. So it could be something like that. Probably not anything important.
Harpoof. What do you think of the Arabian horses that appeared in the Magic Duel?
I'm indifferent. I really like her mane.
Legofane. How do you feel about the NSFW artists? Do you feel like some of the dislike they get for what they do is justified?
Well, I mean, dislike is just something you have when you're like, I dislike that. I dislike certain episodes of MLP. Whatever. But if you're really asking, is the hate that they get justified? Then no. If you dislike, I guess I'd say disliking NSFW fan art, fine. Disliking people for making NSFW fan art, not cool. Those guys, they're doing what they want to do. What the fuck is... Get off their back. Damn.
Your turn.
Moogle Girl?
Yeah.
What do you think about all the spells such as Want It, Need It, Reforming, etc. that seem to be perfectly legal and okay in Equestria but are actually pretty morally dubious? And am I the only one who had a bit of a fridge horror moment about how Twilight is a princess now, giving her room to abuse her power? Yeah, like I said a minute ago, those spells are pretty weird, and I think they kind of just get thrown into the story as jokes, because cartoon logic wise, these things would make perfect sense. Something like a love potion is in like any cartoon, right? Because it's just an abstraction of reality. But when you're creating a whole new reality, and when this is a world that people are trying to believe in, which is the case with MLP, that's when this stuff looks really weird, because we're trying to establish this working universe. And when I say we, I mean we as fans are trying to use the show as a way of establishing a working universe. And then something like this comes along, and it's like, do we have to include that, in our, or is it a cartoon that is fantasizing this world? So it's not even, it's like 2 layers removed from reality. One layer being the fantasy world, and then the next layer being the cartoon aspect.
Lundana. I find that you are very fluid in your speaking skills. I've had a speech impediment all of my life, and I still struggle with it on a daily basis, even at the age of 21. Do you have any advice in terms of speaking clearly and fluently with confidence? I don't have a speaking impediment.
Stop touching things. My best advice for speaking is to do it a lot. I talk constantly. I just never shut up. You can ask him. I talk. If I'm not talking to the computer, I'm talking to this guy. So, yeah, I just never shut up. Obviously, you're watching my Q&A, and I'm going unscripted, and you're probably seeing a lot of moments where I say the same word more than once and or stutter. So, obviously, I don't talk nearly as fluently as I do in the videos, because in those I have the power of editing, where if I fuck up a line, I immediately say it again and again until I get it right, and then I can just cut out all the mistakes and all the breathing and everything until I just sound like a robot. So, yeah, this is the way I normally talk, though. Next question.
It was under E. Give me your top 3 brony musicians.
Number 1 is So Great and Powerful. Number 2 is Cat's Millionaire. And number 3 is Tarby.
How well did the content of Season 1 and Season 2 fit into the grand old arc of Friendship is Magic?
I.e., Twilight becoming a princess. I think Season 1 and Season 2 fit pretty good into the whole overarching story of Twilight becoming a princess. If you go back and watch the pilot episodes, it doesn't feel like anything was forced in or like it doesn't work. It just feels like it feels like a natural progression, and I think it was, because Lauren Faust has now said that she intended for Twilight to eventually succeed the throne with Celestia. So even watching episode 1 with the mindset of this is what's eventually going to happen, it just flows perfectly.
Which upcoming cons will you be in?
I will definitely be at BronyCon. I am not actually aware of any other East Coast cons that are happening, so if I were to get invited to one, I will be there because I have nothing better to do anyway. If people like beg me to come to one, I'll probably come. It's just a matter of money because I really don't have much money right now, so depending on where it is and how much it costs, I should go to any con.
2 elephants and a manta ray are trapped inside a box. The walls are painted bright orange and the ceiling is yellow. 3 taps knock on the door, followed by a doorbell. What is your favorite catchphrase in the show?
Buy some apples. I mean, I don't know.
Nashtay. Which fan music do you listen to?
Alright, so I've put a link in the description to a post that I wrote in about April or May of last year, which was called my Brony Media Overview. This was after I had spent 2 months going through the entire media tab on Equestria Daily and collected all of my favorite songs and artists and everything. So I made this giant post where I embedded videos to all of my favorite Brony songs and stuff. Now, I have not updated this post since then, so like artists such as Cat's Millionaire and Les Soldat Pony, who I just discovered more recently, are not going to be on that list, but otherwise there's a shitload of stuff on there, so you can pretty much find most of the Brony music that I listen to on that list.
Pierce McCann, do you believe there will be more seasons than 4?
Yes, unless season 4 somehow does really poorly, then there's no reason to believe that MLP will be stopping after just 4 seasons.
Do you think Celestia's use is for Discord's magic?
What do you think Celestia's use is for Discord's magic? I don't know, but I hope the show goes into it.
Blah. When do you think season 4 will air?
Probably in the fall. It'd be nice if it starts in September. October is pretty likely.
Do you think Sombra is gone? What about Chrysalis?
I don't think either one of them's gone, and Chrysalis is actually the current antagonist of the comics. So, yeah, she's not gone.
You can read this one.
Alright, Alex Elliott asks, I would really like to hear your opinion on Celestia's leadership. In 3 seasons, we've had the return of Discord, return of Nightmare Moon, Canterlot was run over with changelings, Ponyville was conquered by a lone crazed mare with a magic pendant, Ponyville was nearly destroyed by parasprites, 5 ponies nearly fell to their deaths in the Sonic Rainboom episode, and the CMC are bullied in school. If I were living in Equestria, I would be writing letters demanding change and accountability. Well, I would say that a ruler's job is ultimately to rule their subjects and manage them and stuff, and Celestia does a pretty good job of keeping all this shit wrapped up. Think about it, every time a major villain or something happens or some big catastrophe, it's wrapped up within like 2 days by the main 6. So yeah, Celestia is doing a good job as a tactician managing who's under her employ.
Nash Tay. Actually, I had more questions, like What's your opinion on all the parasprites that absolutely refuse to watch the show because they claim it's a girl show?
Well, I mean, if people don't want to watch it, that's their business. It's not my problem. I'm not going to force it on them. They're missing out. But, you know, some people just don't want to watch cartoons. Like, my parents, they don't care about... They don't like cartoons. Just the fact that it's a cartoon, they won't watch it. So, yeah, some people are just never going to come around, and oh well.
Which pony species is best? Unicorn, Pegasi, Earth, or Alicorn?
I don't have any preference towards one over the other. I think they're all great.
Which is best pony not from the main 6?
This might sound like it's a repeat question, but actually I've been asked who's my favorite main 6 and who's my favorite background pony, but never in between. So my answer gets to be Trixie this time. I really love Trixie. In spite of Ghostbusters.
Do you view the pony fandom as the parasprites make it look?
Obviously not, because I'm in it and I love it, so that would be weird if I felt that way and was making videos.
Ral365. If you had to make a top insert number here, best and worst MLP episodes so far, obviously MMC being number 1, which ones would you choose?
Are you, like, feeling okay?
No. I'm looking at this screen and I'm going... It's like a weird lighting difference or something.
You can turn off that light up there.
I'm really tripping balls here.
Anyway. At some point, I'm going to make a ranked list of all the episodes once I've rewatched them all. I haven't seen Season 2 in quite a while, actually. Sorry about the lighting change all of a sudden, but Victor's starting to get, like, vertigo. But anyway, because I haven't watched Season 2 in a long time, I don't feel comfortable making a definitive list. But going just on memory and in no order, here's what I would consider a list of what I currently consider my top 10 episodes. Magical Mystery Cure, Applebuck Season, Sweet and Elite, The Cutie Mark Chronicles, Lesson 0, Luna Eclipsed, Sister Who's Social, May the Best Pet Win, A Friend Indeed, and Too Many Pinkie Pies. That is my current 10 in no order. My bottom 5 episodes, again just going from the top of my head, would be Ghostbusters, A Bird in the Hoof, Owl's Well That Ends Well, The Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well, and possibly Games Ponies Play or Dragon Quest. The next question is, do you have any feelings about all the Doctor Who spin-offs, fan-made and official? Doctor and Ditzy have their own official MLP comic book at Hot Topic, is what the question says. But to clarify, they do not. They just have a cover. One of the alt covers for one of the issues of MLP has Doctor Who's and Ditzy on it. But that is not an actual comic about them. Besides that, I've listened to the first 4 episodes of the Doctor Who's and the Assistant cast. I've watched the animations of the first 3 and listened to the 4th. I think it's good stuff, and it was actually what got me to start watching Doctor Who. Next question from Dana Ford. How did you feel when you first realized you loved MLP? Who did you tell first, and did they judge you? I felt awesome. I told Victor, and he was not surprised. Do you want to do the next one? Anonymous.
This one?
Yes.
How big do you think the fandom will get?
That depends on how much we keep doing to expand it. It's hard to tell just how big it actually is at any given time. Like, I can't tell if it's at the biggest it's ever been now, or if we've shrunk a little bit, or what. It's really hard to say, but I don't think it's going to start shrinking for a while to come, and I'd really like to see it start to enter the public consciousness more. That would be nice, if it really just reached that level where everyone kind of knows about it.
Have you watched anything from PWAA MLP, Finn, Pierce Smolder, or Squeak Anon?
Well, Pierce Smolder is the person who does those Doctor Who's and the Assistant videos, which I just described that I watched, and I have not heard of the other 2.
How many of your friends like the show?
Well, not counting my brothers, my best friend really likes the show. He still hasn't caught up on Season 3, but that's because he just doesn't watch anything ever anymore. I have other friends they've watched like bits and pieces, and they like it, but none of them are like really into it on like a level where they would watch all the episodes or anything. They've seen just like random episodes. They're like, yeah, that's good, whatever. Enough to appreciate why I'm such a big fan of it without really getting into it on a deeper level.
Smiley, who is your favorite guest star on MLP?
Are there others? I only know of John Delancey. So that. Trigonometrize. The scene in Magical Mystery Cure where all of Twilight's friends bow down to her. I personally hated the scene as it made it look as if Twilight had transcended her friends. After all, bowing is meant to say, I am lower than you and respect you. How do you justify this scene? And I say justify because in your eyes this episode was utterly perfect. I don't think that bowing suggests that you are lower than someone. It just suggests the utmost respect of them, or just respect in general. I tend to bow a lot to people out of just instinct. And I thought that was a really touching scene because it was just like them. It was basically their way of acknowledging that Twilight had done something that was just truly amazing and respectable. She had achieved this higher form of being, basically. It really reminds me of this scene at the very end of The Lord of the Rings, the third movie. There's a scene where the hobbits are talking to Aragorn after he's just been crowned king. And they're all standing there, and the hobbits start to bow to him, and he says, no, you bow to no man. And then the entire fucking human race bows to the hobbits. And, you know, they were not saying we are lower than the hobbits. They were saying we respect you and you do not bow to us. We bow to you because you have earned the utmost respect. So that's what that scene reminds me of.
Princess Luna 91. Where do you compile all of your information and knowledge for your rant videos?
In my brain. These videos are written in like a complete stream of consciousness. I'll usually watch the episode like twice. Sometimes I'll have a pen and pad and I'll write down some notes so that I don't miss out on all the little details. I put some of my notes at the end of the Sonic Rainboom episode, which were just like ridiculous. It's like Rare Extreme and Celeste Useless, and those are my notes. And then I just go on that and write in a complete stream of consciousness style. So like, yeah, like concept to completion, my videos is only like 50 minutes. It's like I watch it, I immediately write about it, and then I go through the longer process of recording and editing.
I feel sick. Can I leave? I don't feel good.
You can just sit here and I can do all the reading. Would that be fine? You should just sit there.
The screen is hurting my brain.
Victor's just going to be a wallflower from now on because he's having trouble. But I do need to do this, and I do need him to be there for me to feel like I'm talking to someone. But that's why I got him to do this with me, by the way, is because it sounds weird if I talk to myself. Okay, Caitlin asks a long question, basically asking for details about Digibrony as a character. The way I see Digibrony is that he is a metafictional representation of myself. So even if Digibrony existed inside of the MLP universe, he is still me. He would still have all of my knowledge and thoughts while also being a pony character in this other universe. So I wrote this short fanfic that was called Tufts of Cotton Candy. I'll put a link to it in the description because I was really proud of it and I wrote it about a week ago. It was about Digibrony. It was written from his perspective. So he makes references to things like he's talking about Pinkie Pie and he says something about her walk cycle, which obviously someone in the MLP universe should not know about a walk cycle, but I do. But that pony is also me. So it's confusing, but that's the way I think of him. Ruolbu asks, in Season 3, Episode 13, Celestia says that Twilight did something extraordinary by creating new magic, but isn't that what every unicorn does since their respective talents lead to them having a unique approach to magic? This is a great question, and I want the answer myself, because I really want them to go more into these whole things about unicorn magic and the principles governing them. Between Ghostbusters and Magic Duel, it was made sort of unclear the way that unicorn power levels work, so I don't know. I want more info about this. It's one of the big things with me that I really want to see is more stuff about unicorn magic. What exactly did the spell she wrote in that book do? Was the spell what unleashed her princessness and Celestia just zapped her into that Twilight dimension before the spell could take effect, or did the spell transport her there and Celestia bestowed the wings upon her? I haven't given much thought to Star Swirl's spell myself, but some of my friends have, and wrote some pretty cool posts about it, so go check the description, and I'll link to some posts where people have theories about Star Swirl's spell. What is your take on how MLP is being marketed? Is Hasbro pushing it into the girl stuff corner by using too many stereotypically girly tropes like color schemes, princesses themes, and girls only in the commercials? Well, it's a show about, made for little girls. It's gonna have girly advertising, they're obviously trying to sell these girly toys, and they're doing it in the only way they know how, that they've been doing it for 25 years and been successful. So yeah, I mean, obviously the marketing...
The card's full.
Oh, motherfuck! My camera keeps cutting out on me. I think I was saying something about Hasbro marketing the show towards little girls and stuff because it's a show for little girls, but you know, the show isn't concerned about being girly itself. It's concerned about telling a good story. So as far as I'm concerned, it's fine. Moving along. Is Hasbro doing the fandom a disservice this way? No, because the fandom formed around this, so there's no reason that this would be somehow now offensive to the fandom. Do you feel like MLP is at heart still a girl's thing that just happens to become more popular with another demographic? I mean, the creators, actors, writers, etc. of the show embrace the entire fandom, yet none of that is being reproduced with the toys IMO, or am I just not seeing the entire picture? I think Hasbro and everyone who's working on the show is under the impression that if bronies like the show, which was a girly show, then there's no reason they should change it because bronies liked it to begin with. It's not like we're going, I kind of like the show, but they need to make it more masculine. We're going, hey, this is my favorite show ever. And they're going, okay, we'll keep making it the same way. It's true that the way that they've been making toys and stuff has not really capitalized on bronies, but I don't think they're prepared to. I just think they don't know what we want. And that's why all the stuff that has been marketed towards bronies has been stuff that's not by Hasbro themselves. It's like those vinyl figures that they sell at Hot Topic, or the We Love Fine shirts and stuff. This is them going through other companies because those companies figured out what bronies wanted and they are successful at it. So I think Hasbro's going to continue to do that. I think they're going to keep bringing in sort of, I don't know what they're called, satellite companies or something that will help them to do that shit. So anyway, Jake Fourleaf asks, what programs did you have access to and what do you use now? For the audio recording, I use Audacity, which is free and easy to get and easy to edit with. And I do all my video editing in Sony Vegas, which is not a free program. That's all I'm going to say about it. I personally consider it to be the best and most intuitive video editing software because I've tried to use like Adobe After Effects, which is useless for what I'm trying to do because you can't hear sound in your previews and it's weird, and Final Cut is just a fucking nightmare. So Sony Vegas is really nice and intuitive. You could easily, if all you know is Microsoft Movie Maker, you could easily carry over your skills from there. And it's got the timeline is like it used to be in Microsoft Movie Maker before they fucked it up with Live Maker, and that's a nightmare. You can't do this kind of what I do. I would not be able to do this in Microsoft Live Movie Maker because it's a fucking mess. Shy Galadriel asks, how long did each pony take to go back to their normal cutie marks in Magical Mystery Cure? We saw how fast Fluttershy was, but it seems like Applejack might have been much longer. And how long? Also, how long did they have switched cutie marks? I don't know. I guess it looked like there was definitely at least a few days, if not longer, that they had the wrong one, since it had to be long enough for like the entire farm to die and shit. But yeah, I don't know. But it's fun to think about. Sammy Runts asks, do you think that other one-episode supporting characters like Gilda will show up anytime in Season 4? Absolutely. I think more of them, I think more will show up. Delta asks, in Episode 1, Season 1, where Nightmare Moon first appears, the camera points straight at the CMC all huddled under a table. What is your reaction to that, since the CMC were not formally introduced until a much later episode? I think it's interesting, especially because, yeah, they weren't supposed to have met each other yet at that point, assuming that that there's somewhat of a chronology that happened before the later cutie mark, which it had to. So, yeah, it is weird, but I think it's probably just the animators threw them in because they knew that they were going to be major characters down the line, and it was a pilot episode, so they kind of wanted to have just have everyone in there. It was probably just like a fun shout out to what they knew they were going to be doing later. Anonymous asks, what is your least favorite fan-made thing? I don't have a least favorite fan-made thing, so that would be pretty hard to keep track of. Shadow of the Dead asks, if you could live anywhere in Equestria, where would you live? What would your house look like? And what would your job be? And could I be your neighbor? I don't think I've seen enough of Equestria to pick just the right place to live. Like, you know, obviously I don't know, like, what the housing and schooling situations and stuff are. But, you know, I'd want to know more about each place. Like, maybe one city has, like, lots of concerts, and I'm a big music guy, and that would be the city I want to live in, and or something else like that. Going by the show, Ponyville seems like a great place to live, because it's, like, you know, there's lots of friendly people. It's big enough that stuff happens there. Stuff comes to Ponyville, but, like, it's not so big that it's like a metropolis. Everyone still kind of knows each other. So it's kind of like Virginia Beach, which is where I live, where we are certainly a city, and we are big enough that, like, in the town next to us at least, we get bands and stuff coming here, but we're not so big that, like, anyone comes here for any reason. So yeah, but mind you, I'm one of the only people my age who actually likes living in Virginia Beach. Most of my friends hate it. Anyway, Devixicus asks, what do you think lurks outside Equestria? The map confirmed that it's a land and not an entire world. Well, we know there's some kind of griffin continent and some kind of dragon continent. It would be interesting to know if there are, like, a lot of other species with their own kingdoms, or if there are actually more pony kingdoms, like maybe on another continent or something. Or maybe it would be like an empire. Maybe Equestria has territories around the world. If you read the comics, they actually... I was just reading issue number 3 today, because I finally got around to it. There was a whole nother race that they showed with their own kingdom. It was like these little fluffy kitty cat things. It was like literally called like the land of hugs and love or something like that. And it's explained to be where the changelings landed after a Canterlot wedding, after they got blasted off. They landed in this place, and all these adorable lovey things were running around going, "We love you," and they just sapped all the love and just wrecked the whole country, which was pretty hilarious.
That's depressing.
So that exists outside of Equestria. The comics are fucking dark. They're hilarious too. Anyway, which subspecies of ponies intrigues you the most, and why? I think earth ponies are probably the most intriguing for the exact reasons I described in, I think, part 3, where I was talking about how they seem to be really strong and in tune with the earth. I think that they have the most interesting abilities to look at and explore. I'd love to see, like, really existential earth pony fanfics or something about their abilities. That would be fun. Maybe I'll write one. Anyway, if you were to build a spaceship to fly to the other side of the Horsehead Nebula and reach Ponyville, what would you do next? I have no idea what I'd come up with to do, because I'd probably have planned it all out after the, like, 30 years that I spent going to college, learning everything about building spacecraft, somehow starting a career that got me enough money that I could personally fund this batshit passion project. I think I don't know what kind of person I'd be by then. Do you celebrate any other MLP FIM holidays? The reason he's saying other is because I did the, what was it called? Hearthswarming Eve celebration, which you can find a video documentary I did on this channel. I'm telling you about it because not a lot of people actually watched that, but look through my channel and you'll find it. Last year we celebrated Derpy Day in 2012, where my mom made muffins with Derpy's face on them, which were adorable. We all did the Derpy eyes and everything. I made a post about it on my Digibrony blog, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. This year we were going to celebrate it, but I forgot until we were all really drunk. That was the day we had that big party. Yes. So yeah. Snaketooth640, are you a boy or a girl? Just joking, I know you're a grown colt and all, but if you were to change into a mare for a day, what will you do, and what will you eat, and who you be eyeing? So I assume that I'm gonna eat what all the other mares eat. That's just a weird question, because apples, grass. I'm a female pony. I don't. Anyway, I'll probably still be eyeing Applejack. Anyway, Teshke. If Applejack's close family members all represent a color of an apple, then why is Applejack orange? I wish I remember where this was, but I saw an image where it was like informationally telling me, hey, just so you know, there's like 3 different kinds of apples that are orange. So yeah, there are orange apples. Don't remember where I saw that infographic. Brandon asks, where do you get the information from in your videos? I already said mostly from my brain, but some of the information that I say for like what creators have said is usually interviews. I don't keep good enough track of this stuff, which I should. I should start like keeping track of all the interviews I watch. Some of them are hard to find. Like I watched the writers panel at Unicon being streamed on Everfree Network, and they haven't actually released it as a video to my knowledge yet. So yeah, it can be hard to find this stuff, but I do watch a significant number of interviews and try to look up like all the stuff Lauren Faust has said about the show and stuff like that. Someone asks, why are you so amazing? Lots of training. Will you ever collaborate with any other YouTubers? Yes, I love doing collaborations. I've already extensively collaborated with ANY Pony because I'm like a regular guest on his Crepuscular Bronies podcast, which I know some of you have watched, but I'll put a link to that in the description too. Why not? Let's link to everything in the description. I had plans to do a headcanon video with Toon Critic, which was his idea, and he hasn't sent me anything about it yet, but I'll still do that if he's still doing it. I'll be doing a very special kind of collaboration with Brony Curious at a certain convention in a certain August. You can look forward to that. I'm going to do an announcement video on it pretty soon, but it's a matter of... Never mind. I'm also collaborating with Red Cord Pony, who's doing the top 10 best episodes of Season 3, community voted. So I'm supposed to be done with that already, and I haven't finished it, but I will be doing a part in that. Next question, who is worst pony? I don't really think about having a worst pony, because that seems just kind of mean-spirited, don't you think? Robert Morgan asks, is love and tolerate a bad motto for bronies? Some people think tolerance is important, while others think that many people are intolerable and that the show doesn't promote tolerance. What do you think? I do not believe that any human being is intolerable. I believe in the ideals of reform and change, that we should try to turn everyone around. Now, that said, this would mean having a really strongly established moral foundation, which is something that I don't really have and I won't fight for, because the way I see it, my morals are probably going to be at ends with most people's. So if we really did try to fight for turning people around and having a strong moral foundation, I'd probably be one of the people they were trying to turn around. I don't want to live in a strict society, because the way I have been raised and lived my life, I would reject a strict society. But I do think that ideally we would have the kind of society where we had a strong moral base. So my ideas of what are socially ideal and about what would bring me happiness are kind of opposed to one another, which is why I don't get into politics. All of that said, if we're approaching this on a very simple, visceral level, I think we should try to tolerate one another as much as possible. That's just the best way to go. That's the best place to start. Next question. Galkaif. By the way, it's kind of bothering me how much white space there is over here when there's black space over there in the camera.
It's like 40 minutes into this.
I know, but it's been bothering me. It got worse somehow at some point. I guess that helps. There's still a big black monitor on the side. Anyway. Galkaif, how much do you think Celestia really knows/knew about everything that went on throughout every season of MLP? Also, how much of the events do you think were orchestrated by her? I think Celestia had a pretty strong hand in things. I don't think that she was, like, guiding everything to happen. I don't think she was, like, inviting villains for Twilight to fight. But I do think that she may have placed little pieces here and there, set things up, and she definitely takes advantage of situations. Like, when the Crystal Empire thing happened, she probably could have taken care of that herself, but she wanted to test Twilight, so she sent her out to do it. She definitely sets things up, like in Keep Calm and Flutter On. She obviously left the elements of harmony with Twilight because it was going to become a thing in Magical Mystery Cure. So yeah, I think she made use of a lot of stuff, and I think she definitely had a watch on everything that was happening, because she kind of seems to have the entire show in a trans-dimensional space or something in that in Magical Mystery Cure. Snivy17 asks, how do you make the slides with the words on them, like the ones at the beginning of the video that announced this questions video? The Hey Hey Every Pony slides were made in Photoshop. I just typed onto a background. Other than that, when I'm doing the videos, I usually use Sony Vegas to put text on them, just on the background. So yeah, it's just text. By the way, if anyone's curious, I use Blue Highway. That is my font in all of my videos. It's kind of a signature of mine. Pony Cordero asks, what do you think of my Doctor Who's video? I watched this video. I'll put a link to the description. I like the energy of the reading, and I thought you did a good job editing it because there weren't any mistakes. But the fake British accent is kind of hard to deal with because it's really forced. I get what you were going for because it's trying to be energetic like the Doctor, but it's just like clearly not British. So I don't know. I guess you'd have to work on the accent. Austin Grubbs asks, how do you go about your thorough analysis? By this I mean, how do you pick apart the episodes and make these surprisingly accurate predictions? I just think about it a lot, like obsessively all the time. I'm just always thinking about the show. The observations on MLP videos are things that I just get interested in, like, you know, the main 6 ages. I just started thinking about it a lot and trying to think of all the evidence I could pull together. Sometimes in these videos, I'm just making observations on the spot. Like Winter Wrap Up, pretty much everything in that video is just I watched it, I thought about it, I put it in a video. With the predictions that I've managed to make, it's a mixture of luck and me just having a really great eye for creative intent. This is something that I used to in anime blogging. I called myself a bloodhound for creative intent because I was really good at predicting what a show was trying to go for because I knew not personally, but I knew the authors and creators of shows because of the fact that I would watch everything else by them. So I'm pretty good at saying, like, based on everything I've seen up till now, here's where I think they're trying to go with this, or here's what I think the ultimate underlying notion of this is. Now, sometimes I'm purposefully reading my own interpretation onto it. Like, the whole... I was going to say... Because, like, with the Destiny thing, part of it was me putting my own ideal onto the video, but at the same time... it really did seem like that could be what it was going for. Like, that maybe the show really does have this emphasis on Destiny, and I was kind of proven right by Magical Mystery Cure when they said the word Destiny like 200 times. Whereas other times, like the random headcanons, that's more of just me being like, this is what I think, but there's no evidence supporting this. But yeah, I just think I'm good at reading into a show. Brendan asks, what are your opinions on the Season 1 episode Bridle Gossip? Somehow, I've only seen Bridle Gossip once. I only watched it the first time we went through the show, and I've still yet to rewatch it. So, as soon as I do rewatch it, I will tell you about it. The Flutter Guy scene, there's an old YouTube video, I'm not sure if it's still up, but it was the song Fuck Shit Stack by Reggie Watts, which goes like, it's a stack of fuck shit on top of itself, nigga. Anyway, Fuck Shit Stack was set to the Flutter Guy scene. It was this amazing lip sync that somebody had done with the scene to the song. And that was the first MLP thing I've ever seen, was that video. Like, months before I ever watched the show, I saw Fuck Shit Stack, which was fucking amazing. Right, you remember too, right?
At that point, I thought the different pony would be the main character. I didn't know who the main pony was.
Yeah. That was all I had seen. It's just those two ponies doing beat. I was just like, what the fuck is this about? You know, I had no idea what was going on there. Anyway, did I skip one? No. Starblood Zero asks, if a human was going to be integrated into the show, how do you feel would be the most successful way DHX could go about it? Villain, ally, one-time appearance, recurring character, overpowered or wimpy bitch? Should they get any special powers, being in the world of magic? No humans. Please, I don't want them. I think someone, maybe Megan McCarthy, said that they were never going to put humans in the show. So, let's go with that. Anonymous asks, I was thinking if you ever wanted to make a contest where one of your lucky followers could get to discuss Season 4 opening with you, and if you would like to do a blind commentary when new episodes are out and then analyze them, or would that be too much work? It kind of would be too much work, but more importantly, I don't talk when I'm watching the episode. Like, if I was just going in blind and writing or saying words, it would just annoy me because I like to be, you know, I want silence. I want to watch it and be concentrated and focused on whatever's happening. I mean, when me and him watch episodes together, you know, we'll laugh and we might say, oh, that reminds you of that scene from whatever. But, like, mostly we're quiet and concentrated and we shush other people. So, Yeah, and that's why it wouldn't work to be talking to someone, because if we had to be over Skype and everything, I'm just going to be shushing you over Skype. Or we might... I don't like stuff like this, because too often we'll make the same joke at the same time or something, or we both have something to say at the same time and we talk over each other. I just don't think that those kind of things work out very well. And, you know, it wouldn't even be like I'm getting content out immediately by doing that, because I already do. When a new episode comes out, I usually have a video out within 24 hours. So... yeah, it would just slow down the process, actually. So yeah, I mean, it would be fun to do some kind of contest, but that one would not be my style. How do you think mythology goes in the pony world? Could they have other old legends other than the Nightmare Moon legend? Yeah, I think there's been other legends in the show, and if not, there definitely should be. I mean, every culture is going to have its own legends, so that's the kind of thing I could definitely see there being a lot of in Equestria. Static Panda asks, if you were magically transported to Equestria, what would the 3 most important things on your to-do list be? 1. Figure out what's going on. 2. Get settled in. 3. Marry Applejack. This is going to be a theme with these questions. There's definitely a theme. Yeah. You know, I don't know why I decided I wanted to answer every question that was about going to Equestria, but it was important to me that I did so. Anyway, Levshoe asks, have you heard Proud to be a Brony, This is War by 30 Seconds to Mars, Join the Herd, Fluttershy's Lament, Awoken, Rainbow Factory, Discord, or anything else by Wooden Toaster, Living Tombstone, Hate Seed, Black Griffin, Forest Rain, or 30 Seconds to Mars? First of all, how did 30 Seconds to Mars get in there? That was really bothering me when I read this the first time. I was like, all these bronies, and then 30 Seconds to Mars is just in there, which, by the way, I do not listen to them.
I think the guy from 30 Seconds to Mars might have wrote this question.
The only thing I know by them is "Come, bring me down, marry me." I remember that from time ago.
Middle school.
Yeah. Anyway, I like Wooden Toaster's songs. I like Rainbow Factory. I like Love Me Cheerily. Actually, a remix of Love Me Cheerily by Blaze was the first pony song I ever heard. The first brony song, I mean. But yeah, I like those songs. Living Tombstone, I'm not a big fan of. I like his beats. He hates the beats. The boom doo 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 doo. Because the thing is, my little brother Shade is a diehard Living Tombstone fan. He had, like, for a while he had an iPod and all that was on it was Living Tombstone songs. And he would just blast, he has this subwoofer, and he'd just blast the songs all day. And this guy'd have to hear it because he's across the hallway from him. And he just got so sick of the boom, 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 boom in every song, you know. But it's probably, Discord was probably my favorite song by him. But I like the original way better, the Eurobeat Brony one, because I love Eurobeat Brony. Discord. I love Eurobeat. Anyway, I'm familiar with Forest Rain songs, but I'm not really a fan. I was actually in the Massive Smile song, but somehow my OC got left out entirely, which made me really sad. Yeah. Who was left? Hate Seed. I know the song Never Ending Strife by him. That's in my Brony playlist. I don't know any of his other songs, though. And I have no idea who Black Griffin is. So, next. Have you ever seen a non-brony commentary? No. Do you know any famous/semi-famous bronies? If Brony Curious and ANY Pony count as semi-famous, then yes. They're the only ones I really talk to, though, so I don't know any more famous bronies. I'm probably going to, though. I hope they like me. Anyway, how good are you at brony trivia? I don't know. You'd have to give me a test. If it pertains to anything between, like, anything before or during February to April 2012, I'll definitely know it. After that, it might be more difficult. Although I hadn't heard of Double Rainboom until like 3 weeks ago, so maybe I'm terrible. Anyway, Pony Lover asks, how does this success on YouTube and in your life make you feel? I feel fucking amazing. Besides the fact that I'm not making very much money at all. I feel very liberated that I get to do what I want to do full time, and I get to see such a huge response to it because this has never happened before. Before I had this job that I had recently, I spent like a year just doing nothing, and all the creative works I did, nobody was really paying attention to it. I wasn't trying to push for it to be paid attention to, but I wasn't putting that much, because I wasn't doing anything that deserved a lot of attention. And now I finally feel like I'm doing something that does, and I'm glad that it is getting attention. Someone asks, Lavshoe asks, have you ever heard of Saberspark? Yes, I've seen a few of his videos, and I thought they were hilarious. I saw, like, Alicorn's 101 and How to Leave the Fandom. It was funny stuff. I haven't watched most of them, though, but I might. I also listened to him and Paleo do some kind of podcast, like, a week ago. Anyway, do you have any hater friends? I don't suffer haters, but kind of. I guess Trevor counts. I'm not really close friends with Trevor yet, and he's also not that much of a hater, because he's the kind of guy who just kind of ironically hates on stuff, but then once you actually get real about it, he doesn't really care that much. But if I have friends who are haters, I probably just won't talk to them, or I'll be like, get the fuck out of here, you stupid bastard. Anonymous asks, what is your opinion on the Anti-Brony Brotherhood? I personally feel they have accomplished nothing. Well, I agree with you. I've never heard of them, but I agree with you just based on their name. Eduardo Pedrero. Well, I was wondering if you could please analyze Luna. Why was she so out of date in Luna Eclipsed? Didn't Celestia teach her how to behave after 1,000 years? Well, I think Celestia is pretty busy, and old habits do die hard. Luna probably did not realize she had a problem until she got... You know what that reminds me of? Is Newsroom. If you ever watch this... Me and Victor started watching this HBO show called Newsroom that's really fucking good. And the main character is like an older guy who's a news anchor, and he's like really famous and stuff. And in the first episode, basically he realizes at some point that nobody likes working with him. They all consider him a jackass, and he had no idea. Like, because it hadn't been like that before, but it's like the past 3 years he'd been an asshole, and he just didn't know until someone outright told him. And so he just starts, like, really working to try and be less of a dick to everyone. And it's just amazing character arc. And I think Luna probably was like that. She just really didn't know that she was going to be socially maladjusted until she got there, and it was like, oh shit, I need to fix this. Anyway, Philip asks, have you seen any pony thread simulators on YouTube? I have not. Levshoe asks, what's the next topic of your explanatory rant/examination thingy where you explain obscure ideas about the show? I'm assuming you mean observations on MLP. I don't know yet. If I haven't made it obvious by now, I don't plan very far ahead. I actually have a note. Could you grab that notebook that's over there sitting on the thing? I actually have a short list of topics that I'm going to be talking about soon-ish, but none of them are for observations on MLP, I don't think. I don't plan very far ahead. The 3 I did so far, all of those were actually things that I had planned out, like that I had already written about like a year ago. But here we go. Let's see. My current video projects: Ask Pinkamena Diane Pie, Pony.mov series, Magical Mystery Cure frame by frame, possibly another Magical Mystery Cure video, Redressing Destiny, Get Hype for Season 4, Operation Digipony, which I'll explain later, not in this video though, and reading Andyman X's Twilight Sparkle Hypnosis script. So those are the current projects that I have written down that I'm going to do. And obviously I'm going to do every episode of the show. That's just like kind of a given plan. But yeah, those are what I have so far. Black Puma asks, considering how wildly popular Friendship is Magic has become with our mature fandom, do you think it's plausible that we'll see a high-quality adventure game set in Equestria either for console or PC? I don't see Hasbro doing that. It's just not gonna come together. I mean, it's not like every other adult franchise has a high-quality video game for it. You know, most franchise-based games tend to suck. So maybe we'll see a cool fan-made game like that, and maybe they'll be smart enough not to advertise it too much, and then Hasbro won't cease and desist them. Or it'll be long enough after the show, because you know fandoms they don't just burn out once the show's over, especially if it's a fandom of this size. There's people who are still huge Star Trek fans and shit, you know, decades after the show's over. So I could see even if MLP stopped airing, we would still have a fandom for it 10 years from now, and people who are working on games that they just started on now will be putting them out then, and nobody will give a fuck if they release them at that point. So yeah. Anonymous asks, is Lauren Faust dead? Because I hear she is, and I hope it's not true. She's alive. And I think we'd all find out pretty fast and probably do some kind of memorial video for her if she was not alive. The only reason for this rumor is because there was a joke about it at the end of swag.mov. Because I actually had a few people ask me that. I guess the way I was talking about Lauren Faust in one of my other episodes, because I said the phrase, she's not with us anymore, but I meant on the show. It stopped again. Spiky Na asks, how would you like it have there was more dragons in the show? I'm not a big fan of any of the dragons who have showed up so far. I mean, we had the one who was kind of funny in Dragon Shy. We had the ones who were a bunch of dicks in Dragon Quest, and then Spike I don't care about. But I guess if they had another dragon who really plays against type, or another dragon who was actually raised by ponies like Spike was, who was older and could maybe give us like an idea of what Spike was going to be like when he's older, that could be fun. Rainbow Dash asks, what do you think about Flutter Dash? It's okay. It's not my favorite, but I like it. I can see it. I can make pretty much any pairing between the main 6 work in my head, so I'm okay with all of them. Sam Terry asks, will you ever do a video on any pre-G4 MLP? That depends on A, if I ever watch any of them, and B, if I have anything to say about them. I probably will not ever watch MLP Tales or any of the G3 shit, because I've heard it's bad, and I believe that it's probably bad. I'm not the kind of guy who goes, oh, it's bad, I should watch it and find out for myself. Nah, but I do want to try G1, at least for a bit. Alex asks, where does your analysis come from? I hope I worded that right. In high school, I had to study Freudian and Marxist criticism, which was actually really fun. I'm curious if you follow anything like that or if you're just a super deep thinker in general. I've read, like, really little critical text or anything like that, anything scholastic. Everything I learned about analysis was either through anime bloggers or video game reviewers or people like Roger Ebert, who I'm a big fan of, and just personal intuition. I've read most of Oscar Wilde's essay about how reviews can be an art form, and I thought that was pretty boss, and I guess that's the closest thing to a well-known author that I've read about this subject. Soulless asks, what is your favorite My Little Pony fanfiction with 200 likes or less? Of the fanfics I've read and enjoyed, the only one with 200 likes or less was called On the Docks, and that was pretty good, so that one. It's not finished, though, so you'll be disappointed if you go to read it expecting an ending. The Androvax asks, are you the kind of brony which buys the toys, or do you just watch the show? Funnily enough, back when I worked at Target, one of the big reasons that I decided to work at Target was because I wanted to get an employee discount on My Little Pony toys, because I knew they had a lot of them, and they had like some exclusive stuff, but I never ended up going to Target after work. I never bought anything there except for food during store hours. I actually one time participated. We were supposed to sing Christmas carols over the intercom at work, and if we did so, we could get a free DVD or CD. But I never, I did it, but I never actually went to get I was going to get the Royal Wedding DVD, but I never did. I can't figure out if it was just because of embarrassment or because of tiredness, or if I just overall was just making excuses and was forgetful and tired, and yeah. I still think this shot composition is awful.
It is. I'm playing with the lighting.
You're making it worse. Asshole. You know people have to watch this, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll probably one day buy one of the vinyl figures that they sell at Hot Topic. If they were to make one for like Applejack and Twilight, I'd buy those in a heartbeat. True Zangetsu asks, what do you think of my OC's name, Shadespark Iron Hooves, considering his special talent is blacksmithing? It sounds fine. I don't know why there's shade in the name, Shadespark, because, you know, the Iron Hooves is obvious, but I don't know why is there a theme of darkness with the character or something? I don't know, but otherwise it's fine. The Joker Mort asks, have you seen Rainbow Dash Presents My Little Dashie? Yes, and I enjoyed it a lot. Xanoscar asks, do you have a very special Sun Pony? Not yet. Maddie8972 asks, if you could switch bodies with anyone in Equestria, who would you switch with, and what would you do, and how long would you go before you switched back? I would switch with Twilight Sparkle. I'd probably spend a lot of time being existential and feel all kinds of changes as our minds melded together until I was at once all that she is and all that I am. I would become part of a metaphysical existence and spend a lot of time wondering what is the definition of myself, and then I guess I'd become Princess of Equestria. TK asks, who is your favorite Scootaloo? The one with the scoot and the loo at the end. Dave apparently wrote a paragraph detailing his discovery of a background pony in the Super Speedy Set of Squeezy 6000 that had Thor's hammer for a cutie mark. I'll put a link to the picture he showed me in the description. That is the most adorable Thor I have ever seen. Anonymous asks, would you quit YouTubing and gain about $3,000 every month, or keep making videos and gain $1,000 a month? Dude, if I was making $1,000 a month, I'd be pretty fucking satisfied with making these YouTube videos. I was making less than $1,000 a month working full-time at Target. So that would be fucking badass. If I was making $1,000 a month right now, I'd be like, set for life, done. So yeah, I would keep making videos and get about $1,000 a month. That'd be great. Anyway, so far I've made about, what is it? At the time I was writing this, I had made it says I had made 140 total. I think I'm closer to 190. But that's just Google estimating. I haven't actually received any money yet for these videos. But I should soon. Alexander S. asks, if you were to go live in Equestria for the rest of your life, would you rather stay as a human or become a pony? I'd rather be a pony because I think it would be a lot easier to connect that way with the rest of the world. You know, I'd fit in and stuff, and I wouldn't just be this weird-ass... I'd be like Frankenstein's monster if I went as a human, you know? It's like everyone has sympathy for me, but nobody really knows what to do with me. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Roy Almagor asks, is Pinkie Pie a genius? That would depend entirely on your definition of genius, but at the very least, I think she has an insane, crazy memory. Yeah. I was going to say, like a beautiful mind, but that guy was actually, like, wasn't he, like, schizophrenic or something? Anyway, you can answer this one. Iden of VT asks, ponies and mechs, good combination?
Yes.
Read the Tumblr blog Ask Hot-Blooded Pinkie Pie, which combines them all the time, for your answer there. Jay asks, growing up, did you watch other girl shows such as G1 MLP or She-Ra? Growing up, I hated and or feared all things girly, so no, I did not watch any of that. I remember just my mom teasing me about Sailor Moon whenever it was on TV, and me going, Sailor Moon's gross, it's for girls.
They were like Powerpuff Girls, but that wasn't really for girls.
Powerpuff Girls was... well, because Powerpuff Girls did a great job of eschewing gender roles, but that was also when we were like 8, not when we were like 5, when... I mean, My Little Pony is before my time entirely, the G1, you know, like maybe Tails was on TV when I was a kid, but we grew up with nothing but Cartoon Network, so I mostly know those kind of shows. Like I don't even know what the hell She-Ra is. I think it's related to He-Man. I don't know. Anonymous asks, do you know Want the A True True Friend song in the last step of season 3 sounds like? It sounds like an old song, but I can't place it. I wish I could help you, but I have no idea. Raznak asks, Vinyl Scratch's best pony, defend or attack this statement? I am indifferent towards this statement. Stewie Pie asks, I'd like to see your thoughts on the spike and rarity thing that went throughout the show. Rest of the question cut for time. Well, the thing is that I don't really have a headcanon regarding it, and I haven't given it much thought, but I basically think that there's probably nothing there. It's just young love. It's, you know, it's semi a joke, semi true, but I think it's not. I don't buy the idea that Spike and Rarity are going to become a couple, at least not within the context of the show. It's something that you can headcanonize and do with yourself, but there's never going to be a big Spike Rarity romance thing in the show. It's just not going to happen. That would be kind
of gross, in my opinion.
In his opinion,
Spike
but anyway,
is a baby.
Yeah, Spike is also a baby.
And
there
a
is
fucking
that
dragon.
Hey man, love can cross species.
Yeah, whatever. No.
He doesn't like it, clearly. Anyway, all the Victor fans are like, oh, gone. We don't like him anymore. You developed a fan base and you threw it away.
That was fast.
Omnipotent Entity Gavin asks, so what is your opinion on people who are leaving the fandom because of Princess Twilight, the loss of Lauren, or some other reason? I feel sorry for you guys who can't like the show anymore for some reason. You know, it's sad because you know, I hate to think that some people have lost something that they really enjoy, like Biter, who it's really depressing to listen to him talk about season 3 and how much he just hates it, when I'm just sitting here going, best thing I've ever watched is Magical Mystery Cure, you know. So I guess it's their loss, and yeah, it's sad. Is AJ a support character or a lead character? Anyone who's not Twilight Sparkle is, I guess, a support character or a lead. If you're gonna say that the main 6 are lead characters, then I think all of them are equally lead characters. Let's put it that way. Oak asks, I haven't seen any comments/analysis of Fall Weather Friends from Season 1. Probably my favorite Season 1 ep. Any reason why? Planning on doing a video on it. If not, can you give me a brief rundown of what you thought? I am planning to do a video on every episode of MLP at some point, so I will cover Fall Weather Friends. I don't know how soon that will be or any thoughts on it until I've rewatched the episode, which I have not done in like over a year. So, yeah, I don't have anything right now to say about it, but I will later. St. Jonal maybe? In Season 4, would you like Nicole Oliver to sing more? I'm always up for more singing from everyone on the show. In a world run by oppressing pony overlords, would you, when given the chance, sacrifice your favorite main 6 pony for the freedom of mankind? I don't put too much stock in freedom, so that would depend on how shitty my situation actually is in this world.
Would that be for mankind or pony kind?
I don't know, it's confusing. Miyazaki asks, how much do you earn money-wise on your YouTube channel? Well, for a long time, I was averaging like between $2 and $4 a day, between like through most of February, and then right now I'm averaging between $8 and $10 a day. I would easily be making double that if my videos didn't so often get denied for monetization. And as I described earlier, it's like a completely 50-50 chance, or even a 1 in 3 chance that my videos will not get denied. So yeah, I had made about 100 and I think like I said, I think earlier I said I've made close to 200 right now, but that's also Google. Google tells me that their estimates are not necessarily accurate, so I could have made less than they think I did, but I don't know how extreme that inaccuracy is. Anyway, Alex Da Silva asks, how fucking awesome would it be if the Pillows could do the music for an episode of the show? That would be incredibly strange,
fucking awesome.
But I can't say I'd complain. I don't know why they would do that, but yeah. The Art Flower asks, would you like fan art of you? Yes, go ahead and PM it to me. I'm getting a pretty decently sized collection. I think I'm going to open up some kind of place where I can put all of it so that people can see all of it in one gallery. Anyway, I guess I'll make this the last question of this video, since I purposefully let it run a little over an hour this time so that we can knock it out. Part 1E will be the last part of part 1, or section 1. So section 1 will be 5 parts total. This is the end of part 4. Last question. Kelly Pony asks, what do you think of the MLP FIM official toys? Also, can you please review Luna's relationship with other ponies? I don't really have anything to say about Luna's relationship, sorry. But as for the official pony toys, the main reason I haven't bought any of them is because they don't look like the designs in the show, which, as I think Hasbro and related companies are starting to realize, matters a lot to older fans. I own a fuckload of figures, so clearly they are something I would buy, and MLP figures are cheap. So I have thought of, every time when I was in Target, I occasionally saw the Trixie toy, and I was like, I need this Trixie toy. But you know what? The Trixie toy doesn't have her hat, and it doesn't have her cape. And it's like, is that Trixie to me if it doesn't have those things, you know? But it does come with Lesson 0 on DVD, so that's pretty cool. But, you know, yeah. And then there's the vinyl figures that they have at Hot Topic, but those are kind of expensive, and they have no moving parts whatsoever. They're just, you know, it's just there. So I want one, but not the characters they have. Like, I love Rainbow Dash and all, but I don't know about paying like $15, $20 for Rainbow Dash, whereas I'd rather wait until I could get Applejack, and then I'll buy that in a fucking heartbeat. So yeah, that will be... Oh no, one more question, why not? Murray Bach asks, can I have a P.O. Box number so I can send you things? I don't have a P.O. Box, but I should get a P.O. Box so you can send me things, because hell yeah, I'll take anything you send me. unless it's a bomb or anthrax. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this Q&A video. We've got one more in section 1, and then probably 4 for section 2, and just 1 for section 3.
Annotations.
Annotation. It's not fun anymore. It's not funny anymore.